Wir sind hier im Dialog im Dunkeln in der schönen Stadt Hamburg in einer Ausstellung, in der es nichts zu sehen gibt. Die Besucher müssen sich einmal auf ihre Hände und Ohren verlassen und erleben Alltagssituationen aus der Sicht eines Blinden. Dialog im Dunkeln ist ein Konzept, welches weltweit vertrieben wird. Und zurzeit findet hier in Hamburg das internationale Meeting statt. Viele Mitarbeiter aus verschiedenen Ländern sind nach Hamburg angereist für Workshops oder einfach einen kleinen Austausch. Und wir nutzen diese Gelegenheit ebenfalls für einen kleinen Austausch. Wir wollten nämlich wissen, wie ist der Alltag von blinden Menschen in anderen Ländern. Und wir reisen jetzt nach Griechenland. And from there, I welcome Ioanna.
Hello.
Ioanna, would you please introduce yourself at first?
Yes, of course. My name is Ioanna Maria. I am blind from birth due to retinopathy of prematurity. I come from Greece. I'm 35 years old, and I work as a guide in dialogue in the dark Athens. Also, I have a small guide dog school in Greece, and I am an activist for the guide dog movement and disability rights.
Okay. You said you were born blind, so how did your parents and your family deal with your blindness?
Well, my parents are very liberate, and they deal with it the best way they could. They make me feel free and independent and good with myself since I was very little. And regarding the situation in Greece, which was very difficult by this time, they did their best so that I can have a good education and that I can take any information that it can be useful in life. So I think I owe a lot of things to my family, of course. They are a part of me.
And did you go to a special school for blind and visually impaired people?
No, I did not. But I was trained in many countries worldwide, even as a child. And also when I founded the guide dog school, I still continue to go all over the world and get trained in orientation and mobility by the different ways that everyone was teaching it whenever I had the chance.
But there are some schools for the blind in Greece.
In Greece, we have two state schools for the blind, which are totally public, but their mentality is that the blind people must be institutionalized. And unfortunately, they don't have any policy regarding education in the schools where everybody goes. They don't have any strategy for educating the people outside of the school. They just want the kids to go to the school there and stay in there. It's like a boarding school. So now in Greece, nobody wants to go there, of course, because with the years, blind people were accepted to schools for the non-disabled. So nowadays these schools are only operated with a very few children. I think the blind school in Athens now only has 8 children.
Whoa. Okay. And how does the supply of technical aids for the blind and the visually impaired look like in your country?
We don't have any aid for supplies by the state. We do receive some one pension every month, so every individual is free to spend the money the way she or he wants. But all this material, you have to pay for it, of course. They are not provided free of charge, and only this is done. It is only private organizations which provide material free of charge, like white canes or guide dog harness. But if somebody is not a member of a private organization, he or she will have to pay for it. We have access to many things, mostly things that everybody in Europe has, like braille displays, screen readers. The Greek blind are very familiar nowadays with smartphones and the information society. But unfortunately, things which are very expensive are not very popular, like the braille displays. Very few people has it in Greece.
In your home country, is there something similar to the mobility training in Germany, where a special trainer shows blind people how to use the white cane?
Yeah, this is a sad story for me. It's a challenge for me, because when I wanted to create the guidebook school, I started from the orientation and mobility training. So I went to the associations of the blind and I said to them that, you know, you have to develop this thing, because the white cane, the training with the cane, is very cheap and is very easy. And for me, it's the most important thing that a blind person must know. But unfortunately, we only have a very few instructors, orientation and mobility instructors, who work for the state, and especially for the associations of the blind. And their job is very limited, because they only train the people in specific areas. They don't train the people to be independent anytime, in any place. And as Greece is a huge country, it's big enough, okay? And it's a difficult country because it has many mountains and many villages and many islands. There are many blind people or children who don't have orientation and mobility, who don't have access to orientation and mobility training, because there are not enough trainers. We only have now 5 trainers for all over Greece, 5. And one of the goals of the guidebook school that I'm honored to direct is that we want to set up a private plan for this kind of training, because unfortunately the majority of the Greek people are not able to move independently.
Okay. How do sighted people in your country treat the visually impaired and blind? Are they rather helpful, easygoing, or rather reserved, or do they even behave in an unfriendly manner?
I'm very proud to say, from my own experience and the experience of our clients who have a guidebook, that mentality is changing in Greece. Regarding the field that we work on, the guidebook access and the guidebook teams, we see that people are very happy when they see an independent blind person, when they see a beautiful relationship between the blind person and his or her dog. And they're willing to help. Some know how to help. Some they don't know how to help, and it's quite funny, but we are always willing to explain to them, and which is the correct way, of course. And also we always try to inform society with presentations, events, the internet, leaflets in the street, etc., etc. I believe that what you give is what you get. If people see somebody who is kind and independent and well-mannered, they will be kind to them.
Do you think that the visually impaired in your home country are well integrated into society, or are there situations in which you feel more restricted?
Unfortunately, the majority of the blind people are not well integrated in the Greek society, because the Greek society don't know how to integrate them. And as the responsible for the blind is the state and the association of the blind, which are connected to the politicians. they are stuck in very old ways of finding somebody a job or of providing someone with books. For example, still in Greece, 90% of the visually impaired people are unemployed, and unfortunately the main profession, the main job that blind people do is the telephone operator. And this is not good because the rest of the world is evaluating, because telephone operators are now managed by computers, right? So, but unfortunately, the only job that the state is offering is telephone operator. Additionally, there are some laws that you have to know very well and to get advantage from. For example, there is a law which says that if you have a medical or paramedical degree, you can work in any hospital that you want, but the hospital board has to ask for has to accept your application. But still, for example, I did my papers, the hospital accept my application because I am a psychologist, right? But my application got stuck in the Ministry of Health, and I cannot get my job because of the economical crisis. So even the very few blind people who have academic degrees, who are scientists, who want to do something more, sometimes they're held by bureaucracy and lack of funds. Yeah.
What would you wish for the future of your country regarding integration and inclusion? Is there anything what should change?
I wish that in Greece there would be more private NGOs for the blind people, and that the system will listen to the real needs and not what the politicians want, and that finally we will create a society for all, where everybody will have his or her own place and everything will be accessible for everybody. Greece wants to do a lot of things, but people don't know how to do them. So now with the internet and the possibility of going out and speaking and go viral, and a few young people who want to stand up for the blind people, I believe that they will find their way also to approach us, and everything will go towards a brighter future. I'm very, very optimistic.
Thank you very much. Das war ein sehr interessantes Interview über die Situation blinder Menschen aus Griechenland, und wenn ihr dieses Interview auf Deutsch einmal nachlesen wollt, so findet ihr es in Kürze in unseren Blogs unter blindlife.de und christian-ohrens.de, und weitere interessante Interviews gibt es auch hier in unseren YouTube-Channels.